Yeah, there's a bird.
That morning, the police stood in front of a quiet house in a senior citizen's neighborhood. No sirens, no cries for help. Everything seemed too normal. The door opened. A man stepped out. His hair was wet. He was wrapped in a towel. He said he had just showered, but something didn't fit. A strange smell lingered in the air. It wasn't musty. It wasn't garbage. It just shouldn't be here. The police looked inside the house. Then they asked a very simple question. Not loudly, not threateningly. Where is the woman who lives here? And it was from that question that everything began to spiral out of control.
No, she really did, I swear.
Okay, where is she?
I mean,
Her car's here.
I know her car's here. She has me house sitting. I have I got my rent receipts.
You're not supposed to be here. Come outside.
Huh?
Come outside.
She doesn't have anyone here.
No,
Okay,
I have rent receipts right here, actually.
Okay, come outside.
What?
On November 6, 2024, in Las Vegas, in a residential area for those over 55, 68-year-old Mon'nique Gilbertson lived alone. Her life was quiet, orderly, and routine. She contacted the management every day. She reported any problems. She never disappeared. She had pets, and she never left them behind. Mon'nique wasn't the type to vanish suddenly. If she was absent, something had definitely happened.
She has pets, and she never leaves the house without them. That's something everyone here knows. Mon'nique isn't the type to disappear suddenly. She doesn't go far. She doesn't cut off contact. She's the kind of person who, if she's gone, something must have happened.
dogs, according to the front
No,
office.
she's like letting me. I'm house sitting and everything for right now. You know?
2 weeks passed, and no one could get in touch with Mon'nique Gilbertson. Phone calls went unanswered. Text messages went unanswered. For someone who usually kept in touch daily, this silence was unusual. The dogs in the house barked incessantly, not their usual bark, but a prolonged, anxious sound. The management managed to reach her, but there was no voice on the other end, just a silence. Then the call was cut off. Before disappearing, Mon'nique had reported a conflict with her roommate. She said she found a gun. The car was still parked outside. The dogs were still inside. And when all of that came together, a welfare check was called.
I have a request for a wellness check on a resident.
When was the last time you heard or seen her?
So the last time she called the office was on the 22nd of October. We've knocked on her door. Her dogs are going insane, which they wouldn't do if she was okay. When I called, the first time it went to voicemail. I called again. Someone answered, didn't say anything. I kept saying hello, hello, and then they hung up. She called you guys about 2 weeks ago. She had a roommate issue, and she called because in her roommate's stuff, she had found a gun.
Daniel Rue appeared at the door. He claimed he was legally residing in the house. Initially, he said he was renting. Just seconds later, the story shifted to house sitting for the owner. Mon'nique, according to him, had gone away for a while, but her car was still parked right in front, and the management had never heard of Daniel Rue. The answers began to repeat themselves. The explanations grew longer. The voice became more strained. He dodged the questions. He became defensive against every inquiry. And he clung to one thing, only his legal rights. That was the moment the police realized something very simple. An innocent person wouldn't behave like that.
Yeah, there's a bird.
I locked it, you.
What? Boyfriend's mother, boyfriend's mother, boyfriend's mother.
Burrito.
God damn. Jesus.
I'm so sorry. I was like, I just got a shower.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's going on?
Okay, open the
yeah,
door.
we've been knocking.
Well, I rent this place.
What's your name?
My name's Jaslyn.
Where's Mon'nique at?
Mon'nique is she like I'm house sitting right now. She left town for a while.
Where is she? No, she didn't. Where is she?
No, she really did. I swear.
Okay, where is she?
I mean,
Her car's here.
I know her car's here. She has me house sitting. I have like, I got my rent receipts.
You're not supposed to be here. Come outside. Come outside.
She doesn't have anyone here.
No,
Okay,
I have rent receipts right here actually.
Okay, come outside.
Well, I'm
let's
not talking
talk.
outside right now. I have paperwork that I'm supposed to be here. Like, you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah, you need to come outside and show us that paperwork.
okay, I have paperwork right here. And I'm not going to come outside right now. Though. Like, I have legal rights.
This is the, what's your name?
My name's Jaslyn. I was
Jazz?
Yeah, Jazz. I was
Okay,
renting.
understand that I'm here to do a welfare check on the occupant of this residence. I am going to do that. You need to come out of that.
Well, she's not here right now, though.
You need to step outside right now. I am giving you a legal and lawful command. If you do not obey that command, I'm going to take you to jail and I'm going to charge you with
But
it.
I have
Step out of that door
Get
right
out of the
now.
house.
no, excuse me. No, I have rights. I'll call my attorney then. Like,
Okay.
I first off, Monique's not here right now. I have the paperwork right here for her.
How do you contact Mon'nique?
I call her usually on her cell phone, but she called me yesterday from her like friend's cell phone because she said her cell phone got lost, so she had put a pause on her cell phone. You know what I mean? But yeah, I usually call her. She usually calls me on her cell phone. I talk to her every couple days. I'm watching the dogs right now and watching the birds.
Okay. So from the front office, she doesn't go anywhere without her dogs.
Yeah, I know. I've been saying that's what she had. She had she had an emergency. She had to go to her brother in the East Coast. So you know what I mean? Like she's not here right now. What do you want me to do about it?
Okay. Okay. Go. Number 30.
Hello.
In the corner. Go over there. Okay, big upper room, the right looks like a hallway to the left. I'll clear this right if you want to hold the hallway to the left. Okay. Okay.
Does that go through to the kitchen? On the other side?
No.
No.
It's blocked off.
Okay. Alright. I got like 90 certification.
Just pee and shit everywhere. Watch out.
Alright.
Yeah. Oh.
Put the rest of this in the rolling action search.
Oh shit. Okay. So it opens up here to the right. Clear this right hallway. Yeah. There's another door right here. Yeah. Come back out this way. Okay. Place is clear.
I got this room left right here.
Okay.
Good.
While searching the house, the police stopped in front of a freezer. It was locked, No one said anything, but they all sensed the same thing. A strange smell, very familiar, and never a good sign. Professional experience overridden reason. They called a locksmith. When the door swung open, there was no doubt. Inside was the body of Mon'nique Gilbertson, a 68-year-old woman stuffed into a freezer and hidden like an object.
Where's it locked at? It's right here. I think.
The inspection seemed to be nearing its end. The house had been thoroughly searched, no signs of forced entry, no one else, no clear answers. Everything was chaotic, dirty, unpleasant, but not enough to keep them there any longer. In those brief seconds, the thought of leaving crossed their minds. Unless something more happened, this would just be another pointless inspection. And the person standing at the door, with that stuttering voice, had almost gotten through it.
Yeah, it's got a key on it. Is it a Allen thing?
It's like an Allen key.
But one thing refused to disappear. Not the evidence, not the procedure. It was a professional intuition, a vague, hard-to-name feeling. As if something in this house remained unseen, an officer paused. His gaze rested on the freezer. No sound, no unusual signs. Just a dark corner holding an unnecessarily heavy silence. And instead of stepping outside, the officer turned around. Because sometimes, justice doesn't disappear in the chaos, but is only a turn away from it.
Here. I think.
Yeah, it's got a key on it. Is it a Allen thing?
It's like an Allen key.
No one said what they were thinking. But the smell doesn't lie. It seeped out very gently, very slowly. Just enough to make someone who had just walked by pause for a split second. Not a feeling of horror, but a terrifyingly familiar sensation. The kind of smell that those who had been through too many crime scenes would recognize instantly. Some instinctively recoiled. Some turned away. And some could only say they didn't want to see what was inside. An officer stepped outside, called a locksmith, then returned. Time seemed to slow down. No more talking. No more unnecessary movement. Only a heartbeat more distinct than usual. And an irreversible decision. When the cabinet lid was opened, all previous lies lost their meaning. A 68-year-old woman hidden like an object. That was Mon'nique Gilbertson.
The two officers opened the freezer. What they didn't want to see was revealed. Mon'nique's body lay inside. Daniel and Gina were arrested on the spot. This can't be second-degree murder. This was planned. The autopsy results left no room for excuses. Mon'nique's body contained more than 200 times the lethal dose of fentanyl. No mistake. No misuse. It was a dose sufficient to ensure there was no turning back.
Do you have a copy of the paperwork?
Yes, sir.
Did you go over that with the client?
We did, Judge.
Okay. State, I think we need to do a bail hearing. Excuse me. Sorry about that. A little sick.
I believe the defense is going to reserve that for writing.
That's correct, Judge. Just this morning, we waived reading of the complaint, obviously enter a not guilty verdict, and then we'll adjust custody status in writing at a later time.
Is there a coroner's report yet?
I'm not aware of that, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
Okay. In terms of setting this, how far out do you want to set this?
Even though there does seem to be a delay at the coroner's office right now, we'd like a preliminary hearing at 15.
Okay. All right. We'll set it to 15. November 27th, 9 a.m.
Thank you, Judge.
Good to see you, Mr. O'Brien.
You too, Judge.
Gentlemen, you don't talk. Please, you ask you not to talk.
She's still talking.
Daniel Rausch, also known as Jaslyn Rausch, is the primary charge in this case and faces the harshest penalty under Nevada state law. In January 2025, a grand jury formally indicted Daniel on 7 felony charges, including murder, elder abuse, theft, and property theft. This was not an impulsive act, but, according to prosecution, a series of premeditated actions. Prosecutors allege that Daniel intentionally forced the victim to use an extremely large dose of fentanyl, more than 200 times the lethal dose, with the sole purpose of removing Mon'nique from the house and gaining control of the property. According to forensic records, This dose leaves no room for the theory of accident or mistake. With the current charges, Daniel Rausch faces a potential life sentence, possibly life imprisonment without parole, if convicted of first-degree or second-degree murder. This sentence reflects not only the victim's death, but also the cold-blooded and premeditated nature of the crime.
Yes, Denise and Brian, one of several things coming to light in that call about what happened here.
Gina Lopez, Daniel's wife, was also arrested at the scene. However, her role in the case is being considered from a different perspective by investigators. Gina is being prosecuted on charges related to failure to report a crime, obstruction of justice, and possible elder abuse, due to living in the house while Mon'nique's body was hidden inside the freezer. In her statement to the police, Gina admitted that she knew about the victim's death but did not report it to the authorities. Her reason was fear, as she was on probation at the time. A call to report the crime could have instantly ruined her life. Currently, Gina Lopez's legal fate remains uncertain. If she cooperates with the prosecution and testifies against her husband, her sentence could be significantly reduced. Conversely, if found guilty of complicity in concealing the crime, Gina could face years, even decades, in prison. Mon'nique Gilbertson's story reminds us that people who live alone need more care and attention. A phone call or a visit can make a big difference. If you find these stories meaningful, please like and subscribe to the Rescue Patrol USA channel to help spread awareness and humanity.